Hello ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to another ranking video. Today I'm ranking Galactic Republic. I haven't gotten around to this before. It's kind of surprising because it's one of the best factions in the game, and it's definitely a major faction by any definition. Plenty of characters. Not the biggest faction in the game by a long shot. That's Scoundrels, and then there's Rebels, and there might be a couple of others. But it's a great faction. It's pretty dense. It's got highs and lows, and this ranking is just a self-contained tier list, with the best in the faction being top of S tier and the worst of the faction being bottom of F tier. Do not compare it to just a general journey guide ranking or any other kind of marquee or faction ranking. It is entirely self-contained. So I'll be going through them in alphabetical order as appearing on SWGOH. And I'd love to hear your thoughts in a comment if you want to share. Otherwise, don't forget to like the video and subscribe if you haven't already. And first up, we have the AA Aayla Secura, and she is towards the top of C tier. She's not a useless character by any stretch. She definitely finds uses in either a Qui-Gon team. You could use her in a Jedi Master Kenobi team, I guess. Sometimes I use her with JML. She's pretty useful in Galactic Challenges when you need a lot of stuns. I recently just used her with JML to call tons of assists and get stuns with her. So she has some use. She also has the support tag, which is nice in Conquest. So definitely not complete trash, but would be lucky to get any higher than this. Next up, we got Ahsoka Tano, and Ahsoka Tano, the original, is towards the bottom of A tier. I think that's a good spot for her. To me, she is high B tier, pushing bottom A tier, but I give her A tier just because she is so versatile and she is so key to probably the best team in the game, the Jedi Master Kenobi team. You need her to constantly be assisting, dispelling. She also can give protection up, does decent damage, and she charges that ultimate like crazy. And not to mention, she's got a great ship in the Negotiator fleet, which isn't as good as it used to be, but still a great fleet. After her, we got ARC Trooper, and he to me is at the bottom of B tier. Whether he's better than Aayla or not, I think he is. You might disagree. Really, he just belongs with his own team. He's in the General Skywalker team, and that's it. The only time I use him outside of that team is in the Rise of the Empire TB on Lothal, because he's one of my R8s. That's Galactic Republic, and that's just because he's required for Lord Vader. But it actually works pretty well. He kind of acts like Ahsoka in that team because he is assisting as the weakest ally in dispelling, so it's pretty great. His turret is, it's nice. It's a nice little gimmick, but that's all I have to say about him. After Arc, we have Barriss Offee, and she is mid B tier. She is at heart a plug-and-play character, not always going with Galactic Republic, but the most valuable thing about her is her unique that is healing 20% when you get crit, which is useful in a lot of ways because it's not faction specific or alignment. Well, is it alignment specific? Okay, I just checked. It is not alignment specific. It can be any ally, which is why she's so flexible. The most recent use of her I've seen is in Rey teams, and you load her up with health. Makes it really hard to work down Rey unless you have healing immunity or shock or something like that. And she's also cleansing the weakest ally at the end of her turn, which she's not super fast, but she does gain turn meter when allies are critically hit, so she gets around to her turns soon enough. After Barriss, we have C-3PO, and C-3PO is high A tier, mainly because of his versatility. He's a great utility character, although he might be due for some reevaluation now that traditional raids are not really a thing. He used to be super flexible in raids, but now he's not even allowed to play in the only raid that really matters towards the end game. But still, he's amazing on a Commander Luke Skywalker team, which is his primary home right now. He also can work on a Padme team, and he's great there with all his mechanics. He does so many different things, works mainly with Rebels, Galactic Republic, or Resistance. But he is droid, so maybe you could figure something else out to use there. Anyway, yeah, C-3PO high A tier still. Maybe in the future I will knock him down a peg. Next after him, we got Commander Cody, and that's our first F tier character. Honestly, I mean, he's F tier pushing D tier. The only thing he does that I think would push him out of the D tier is he has a mass assist for clones, which is kind of nice, but you don't really want to use him in a clone team. I did use him a little bit in Bad Batch before I finished Omega as the 5th, because that mass assist did come in handy there. So maybe I slighted him a little bit and should have put him in the D tier, but still I have no use for him. I wish I didn't have him at Relics. I only did it because I needed him for Jedi Master Kenobi. And after him, we got another clone, Clone Sergeant. And Clone Sergeant is in the D tier because, not because of his prowess on land, but because he has a decent ship. That's a tank. And it's a semi-perma-taunt tank, and just as long as it has protection, it is taunting. So it has some flexibility of use in a variety of fleets if you just need some kind of tank. So that is why he is not F tier. And now I'll probably get a little bit of dissent on this one just because he's such a classic. We have Clone Wars Chewbacca towards the bottom of F tier. Just because I think he in and of himself is pretty useless. The only things he has going for him are the Galactic Republic tag and now the Wookiee tag, which he could go with that Tarful team, but I think out of all the Wookiees, he's the first one to drop. He's the worst one. So might not even see use there, especially since you are allowed to have one non-Wookiee on the team. This was like the first character you got when you started playing the game within year 1 to 5 or 6 or something. You start with different characters now, but everyone thought they needed to build him up because he was Chewbacca, and that was the only version of Chewbacca we had in the game. But yeah, on his merits, he does not get much respect here. After him, we have Commander Ahsoka Tano. That is our first S tier character. She's got a little bit of space here, so I think you can imagine who's going to be there later. But she's an incredible character. She's built to go with Jedi Master Kenobi, and that is her best use. But based on her unique, she has plenty of plug-and-play uses. Just so many stats. She gives 50% offense, critical damage, health, and defense to all her light side allies, as long as there's one other Galactic Republic, Scoundrel, or light side unaligned Force user. Which is pretty crazy. There's some serious stat boosts, and it's just unique. So she does not have to be a leader at all, and she's still going to get around to that insta-kill eventually without JMK there. So straight S tier for her. After Commander Tano, we have another meme favorite. We got Cup. He's worse than Clone Wars Chewbacca. He does have a stun on his basic sometimes. It's a partial chance, I believe, but he is pretty useless. So just F tier. Someone R9'd him at some point, or some people have, but there is no use right now for him. Since we're going alphabetical, we have a few clones up for ranking, since they all start with CT, where the 501st clones do. And at the bottom of B tier, we got Echo. He is right behind Arc. They do similar things. Arc doesn't assist, but his turret assists, and Echo assists all the time. Maybe he's a little bit better than Arc, but Arc, you can have a more reliable cleanse. It's not just once in a while with the AoE, but both of them are pretty much just only a factor of their own team. Under General Skywalker, you could do Shock T, but no one really does it anymore, but I'm a B tier for him. Next clone is much higher, and that is Fives at the top of B tier. He's actually pushing low A tier, but it was a bit crowded up there. But he makes that team a threat, especially if you are on offense and the AI doesn't know to kill him first. You're going to get enormous stat boost to the rest of your 501st clones. That sacrifice ability is his bread and butter. But also he gains tons of turn meter, which can help get the team going. I love him in Conquest for that reason. Under Rex lead, he is generating lots of turn meter to get the team going. Speaking of Rex lead, we got Rex just ahead of him at the bottom of A tier. And I do think Rex is a little bit more valuable to a clone team or 501st team, just because he has that speed boost for all the clones, and he has that turn meter boost with tenacity up, which is pretty tough to deal with if you're going against it, because once you get tenacity up, you have to dispel it or you can't land debuffs unless you get tenacity down. Anyway, I digress. And that Rexalate is crazy. The aerial advantage attack that stacks to an insane degree. Just an amazing character. Or it used to be super amazing. I'm not going to say he's like amazing now, but he's a great classic character that has seen use for a long time. And that's officially it for the 501st clones, but those are not the only clones in the game. Next up we have Echo, Bad Batch Echo, and he's just above Rex. Can honestly go higher just because of his speed, his mass dispel, and the AoE days. He's just great. He even works as a plug-and-play character in random teams. Back when Set 4 Datacrons were a thing, if you used Darth Vader lead with Echo, you could be the JMK team because he could get out first, remove the tenacity up, and then let Vader do his thing. So he has crazy plug-and-play viability that way, although in practice, you don't see it quite as often. But he is definitely the best Bad Batch clone, in my opinion, and I think many people's opinions as well. After that, we got Eth Koth. He is just a dud. He's supposed to be extremely effective against droids if you read his description in-game, but he is nothing of the sort. Not for any modern-day droids, that is. So he is down in the doldrums of F tier. After Eth Koth, we got General Kenobi, another S tier character, right under Commander Tano on the chart, but he is significantly lower than her. I've said it before a lot of times. He's the quintessential tank. He works with anybody pretty much. If anyone's getting crit, he is taunting, so it's a semi-perma-taunt, and he's also dishing out a critical hit immunity. He also gives out Foresight on his basic. He can have a mass assist just with anyone that is buffed, and he has a mass cleanse. So he is a great utilitarian character, and he also has a spot on the best team in the game. Overall, not saying he doesn't have problems with Jabba. Yeah, General Kenobi is S tier. And it's fitting for the other general on the list to be S tier as well. And he is just ahead of Commander Tano. It's General Skywalker. Of course, my opinion has been for a while that he is better than Commander Tano. His own team is just, it's a well-oiled machine, and it's mainly thanks to him. He does so many things on his own. There's a lot of things in his kit that people forget about. I might talk about him more later, but he does tons of damage with his specials. His basic got nerfed during the Great Nerf of 2020, but he still can pack a punch with those specials if you line it up right. And he's just his team is one I'm really afraid of in Grand Arena. It's something I don't want to use Galactic Legend on or Star Killer, but I usually have to use one of those to get by. It is just such a tough squad to deal with. After him, we have Grandmaster Yoda. And he is high A tier. I think some people might dissent with this. He's not as useful as he once was, but I still prefer him greatly, either with Giant Knight Revan or Giant Master Luke. The turn meter gain is crazy. In my opinion, he is the best character in the game that has no unique abilities, which is strange. Most characters now, new characters, they're going to have some uniques, but he has no uniques. It's all in his special abilities, what's happening, even though it feels like he'd have a unique that's gains turn meter. But the buff spread is still one of my favorite mechanics. It's just very addicting to pass everything off to him with Bastila and spread it. Even though that was like the 2018 meta, it's still quite enjoyable today. Next up, we got a non-Force user and the leader of the other clone team. It is Hunter. And he is mid B tier. He's one of the better Bad Batch clones just because he's the leader and that he makes the whole team work. He's also one of the bigger damage dealers. He's got a cleanse. He kind of have a confusing kit, which I'm not going to dive into right now because there's a lot to it. But Hunter leads the Bad Batch, and they're a very niche team. Definitely an offensive team in Grand Arena and in Territorial War if you use them right, but definitely a fan of Hunter. I'm a Gun Die is next, and his name is aptly descriptive of what he actually is going to do. He is going to die, usually. Arnold has made a lot of use of him, or way back, not too far back, once Cam got unlocked. He made a lot of use out of I'm Gonna Die because he is a support character and you can get his health pool pretty high, and he has a decent damage multiplier, so he can do pretty high damage with a Ki-Adi Mundi Tomb. We don't really see him used, but he could be decent in a Qui-Gon team after that sacrifice with the Cam bonus. But yeah, so not too much going on for him. That does bump him up to at least top D tier for me. After him, we got Jedi Consular, another one of those relics of the beginning of the game. He was alongside Clone Wars Chewie for beginner players, and I used him for a while just to try to get through Galactic War. It was him and Luminara trying to heal each other up and get through it. To no avail. It was most of the time in vain, but he is low D tier. He gets bumped up a little bit because of his ship. After Jedi Consular, we have Jedi Knight Anakin, and I have him mid A tier, mainly just because of the insane amount of damage he can put up, and the fact that he gets bonus turns when allies are going low is not to be underestimated, either on a Qui-Gon team, or a Padme team, or even if you ran him with a JMK team, which I do in Territory Battle because I have mine at R8. And he also has a great ship. That Negotiator fleet is still something to be worried about if you don't have the right team in place, and it's just because of his ship. So I still think he is a higher tier character, mid A tier for JKA. Not mid tier for Jedi Knight Guardian, JKG. She's a tank, and she's a Jedi, and she's a Galactic Republic. That's all she has going for her. If you put her on a Jedi Master Kenobi team, you could make her taunt and give her damage immunity, and she'd sit there, which is all she can do. But that's basically it. Bottom of D tier for her. Next up is Jedi Master Kenobi, and it's no surprise, he is the top character in the game, probably, and definitely the top of this faction. He leads, his team is pretty much this S tier right here, if you're having his absolute best team, with Ahsoka Tano. But usually you don't put General Skywalker in there. So no surprise it's going to be a good team, because it's a crazy powerful faction. But yeah, not too much, I don't have to say too much about him, because everybody knows he's JMK. He is the best Galactic Legend in the game. So after him, we have Ki-Adi-Mundi, and I put him higher A tier, just over Anakin. I think it's probably a good place for him. Maybe, like, there's ways that, like, Ahsoka is better than him, and Anakin really needs him. He really needs Anakin to be making the most out of that Qui-Gon team. But he is still granting a lot of buffs on his own to a Galactic Republic Jedi team, including speed, which is huge. And he is one of the single hardest hitting characters for single shots in the game. It's crazy. He can hit 200k on single hits, like barely anyone can do without like tons of mastery ramp. So he's still a decently impressive character, but he's nothing like Rifa for a Territory Battle character. Out of the 3 Territory Battle characters, he's the worst, even though he was second out of 3. But yeah, still a good character, mid A tier. Next up, we have another useless Jedi, Kit Fisto. He is mid to bottom F tier, and he just does not have anything going for him. He's an extremely old kit. If you look at the stat boost in his kit, it's laughable. His unit gives him 35% counter chance and 20% offense. His lead gives 25% tenacity, and for only Jedis, they get 45 flat defense. Not much going on for Kit Fisto. He is in the worst tier. After him, we have Luminara Unduli, and she could probably get a little higher than this just because of her Omicron, but it is just GAC. If this was a GAC only list, she'd get bumped up a little bit. I do not have this Omicron, and I do not make use of it. It doesn't work when your allies have protection up, so that is an issue. It does a whole lot of stuff with her heal over time. My main memory of her is in the beginning of the game, as I talked about with Jedi Consular, trying to survive Galactic War with those two healing everyone up. She was my first and only like either gear 8 or gear 9 on my original account. When I quit, it's level 77. So yeah, she was not bad, not very good back then, but definitely a little bit better now, although nothing to be super impressed by. After her, we got Mace Windu, and Mace Windu, I'm giving him the nod for the S tier. He does a lot of stuff. He dispels stealth on everyone at the beginning of his turns. He can get around taunts. He can weaken enemies. He is great at taking care of tough opponents over time, and in 3v3 he's the way to go. Him, Commander Tano, and JMK to take out Jabba. If you bring in GK, it's a bit of a worse situation. And then Territory War, he is much improved with his Omicrons, although I am no expert on those, but still S tier for Mace. After Mace, we have Padme, and she is at the top of A tier. Still a super solid kit. I really enjoy how she works. The courage mechanic is still a favorite and can be exploited at any level of the game if you do it right. And the fact that her team can't lose turn meter makes that Gidme team possible in a variety of circumstances. Great heals, great survivability, preventing critical hits on her allies and giving them protection up when you get attacked out of turn, which is all the time. Plus, she has an irresistible stun on her kick special with a mass assist, which is just fantastic. Moving on, another P character. We got Plo Koon, and he is top of C tier just because of his ship. His ship is incredible. It's a mass cleanse, dispel for cleanse for your whole fleet, which is rare, and he gives turn meter to the whole fleet. He's one of the best reinforcements in the game, and you could use him creatively in a plug and play situation otherwise. On land, he also gives turn meter out to his team, like 50%, I think, which is pretty impressive, and you can make use of it sometimes. Yeah, 50%. And some people got him up to like R8 for a specific negotiator counter to executor or something. I will do no such thing, but he is still decent enough to get the top of the C tier and not be in D or F. Coming down the home stretch, we have 5 more characters, starting with Qui-Gon Jinn. He is towards the top of B tier. He only is worth crap in Grand Arena, otherwise he's pretty useless. And his main buddies are Jedi Anakin and Ki-Adi-Mundi, just supercharges teams with tons of offense. Unless there's a Galactic Legend. Of course, I'll always remember that 5-second clip of him wiping out a whole Supreme Leader Kylo team, or Anakin wiping them out after Qui-Gon went down, which was hilarious. Otherwise, there's not much to talk about with Qui-Gon. And next up, we got R2-D2, which is right next to him. And R2-D2 isn't, he was much better utility player back in the day, but he still has utility. One neat trick you can do with him is in Jedi Master Kenobi mirrors. If you stealth to just Kenobi, the enemy cat will waste the Annihilate on him, and you can get a full banner win if you so choose to go that route. Otherwise, I like how he works on a sortie team. He can go with Jedi Training Rey is most common. He does not usually go on CLS anymore. But he's also pretty good in Rise of the Empire TB on Tatooine specifically, because whenever you're critically hitting an enemy, you're cleansing, which helps you get rid of all those pesky dots on that planet. So if you're struggling there, that's a free tip. Although I'm pretty sure a lot of people know that by now. After that, we got Shaak Ti, and I think I was guilty of slighting Shaak Ti in a Jedi ranking and having her too low. I hope this makes up for it because she is a very versatile character. I love her mass cleanse for the team, which is also a mass assist for clones. So I love using her with clones. I just don't get the opportunity to very often. Her second special with the heal is pretty important. I love using that with Jedi Master Luke because he has tons of protection and her heal goes a long way there. Also, Dispel in the basic with offense up to the whole team is pretty great. So she is definitely meriting A tier at least, and I hope this makes up for the place I put her last time. Last, we got 2 Bad Batch clones. I'll just show them both at the same time. We got Tech and Wrecker. I put Tech just before Wrecker. Wrecker is pretty useful in 5v5 as the tank, and that's what makes them able to take a few hits. Although, if there are any hits getting off against them, it's bad news bears. And Tech is usually the one that makes the 3v3 lineup, so I just gave him a little bit of an edge over Wrecker. But the bottom of the B tier is definitely clone territory, with the bulk of the clones being there, and no one else being in that tier area. But Tech, I really enjoy him. He does have to have Echo and the right debuffs applied for him to make the most of his kit with that AoE stun, but he's also great with the cleanse, and he's almost unique. He's unique in that he's the only other character that gives out translation, I think. Nope, just kidding. Don't listen to me. 000 also gives out translation. But for a little bit, he was the second character that gave out translation, which is a pretty useful buff for resetting cooldowns. And if a match lasts a long time with Bad Batch, they get even better because they're going through specials like crazy. But Wrecker, one of his best attributes is he gives defense up to the team, which is important for their true damage. He also has that AoE stun, so he is amazing too. These three are really kind of neck and neck. It's like they're all integral to the team, but Wrecker just doesn't make the cut for 3v3, which is kind of why he is a little bit lower than Tech. So that's it. That's the whole list. Great faction out there. Pretty kind of top heavy. It's like medium top heavy. It's all A and B tier, or mostly, and then C, D, and E, or C, D, and F are not super populated, but there's a decent amount there. So it's pretty full faction across the board. Let me know what you think of the ranking. I'd love to hear different thoughts and agreements as well. But thanks for watching, and don't forget to subscribe if you haven't already. See you guys later.